In the past 5 or so years, I've gotten really excited about mushrooms, and everybody that knows me knows this. I talk about mushrooms. I love learning about fungus. It's like, I think it's just the coolest thing. So, mostly what I learned about is how to identify mushrooms out in the wild. Bought some books, watched a bunch of YouTube videos. But what I was curious about is if there was a way I could start to grow them myself. It's like edible mushrooms that were easy. And I found a couple different methods, but the one I'm going to show you today is probably the easiest, simplest, most surefire way to grow some of your own mushrooms that there is. So come on, I'll show you how it's done. The first step in growing mushrooms is to figure out where you might want to grow them. So you want to think about a location that you can set something and leave it there and not have to worry about it too much. This is the part of my house that I affectionately call the compost corner. You can probably guess why. My compost is over there. It's also a part of the house that I just don't go to very often. It's out of the way. There's no traffic through here, which is perfect for this project because I don't really want to see what's happening. I just want to set it up and forget it and let it go. So it also happens to be the north side of the house, which is even a little bit better because the north side is going to have more moisture, more humidity, less direct sunlight here in the northern hemisphere. So I'm going to show you how we're going to turn this kind of old wood chip bed in the back into a living, alive fungus colony to grow wine cap mushrooms. Okay, so when you are going to be buying or growing your own mushrooms, when you're going to be growing them and buying materials for it, there's a couple companies you can go to. The one that I like the most that I recommend is Northspore. They're a small company run out of Maine, and they're just fantastic. All the quality of their stuff is so good. There's so much attention to detail. For example, when you open this box for the spawn, you get this little envelope that has some of their branded material in it, which I love. I just think their brand is so fun. But also they include a mushroom cultivation guide, which is going to go through a lot of the same steps that I'm talking about here. But it's going to be, in a paper format. It's got lots of great pictures. So if you wanted to jump into this, you could do this on your own just by ordering the spawn from them. A word on the spawn. This is a wine cap spawn, and it comes in two types. You see down here it says Sawdust spawn. So that's kind of key because when we're outdoors, we want to stay away from grain spawn, which is the other main type. Grain spawn is great. It's super vigorous. It's going to grow really awesome, but it's also something that all the critters love. So you're going to have animals in here just digging all your stuff up, and that's not what we want. So instead, we have the kind of mushroom inoculate. It's inoculated sawdust, and then that is going to be in clumps that in a minute here will break up, spread through this whole bed, and start it going. So first thing you're going to want to do is open it up and really just break it apart. You want to get any and all clumps apart that you can, because the more the clumps that you break apart, the more you're going to have lots of surface area for the mycelium, which is like the under part of the mushroom, kind of the hidden main part of the mushroom, to spread and grow through all of these wood chips, which is what we want. So you want to break it up as much as you can. A note, if you want a video on mushroom life cycles or on how fungus works, put it in the comments because I would love to talk about that. I just want to see if people are interested. So once it's fully broken up, then we'll move on to the next part over in the bed here. Now that we've got the bed all prepared, we can use some wood chips. We want to use hardwood wood chips. I got these at Menards. They're super cheap and they are just really great. You can get them for like $2, I think. And you can always use these to refresh a bed that you've already established. So this bed is already semi-established, so I'm kind of adding on to it to show you how the process goes. But if you were starting from scratch, you could just buy a bunch of these and have some spawn, like I said, and go from there. So it's really straightforward. So all we're going to do is we're going to take our spawn, and I'm going to take it, and I'm just going to spread out layers of it. And I'm going to make it small and broken up and get it all through the bed. And once it's fully spread out and I got it just fully colonized, or fully ready to colonize, rather, then what I'll do is I'll take this bag of wood chips and I'll just go over the top. And I'll repeat. And that's the process. You just build it layer by layer. They call it the lasagna method because you are layering. And once you get to the end here, I'm going to show you just the final step. But yeah, I will spread out the rest of that and then show you what we have to do at the end. Last but definitely not least is going to be watering in the bed. Mushrooms need moisture to survive. That's kind of their main thing. Heat, moisture, and darkness are what they like, which is why you end up with fungus in like your basement, right? So what we need to do is we need to make sure this is thoroughly watered, and then throughout the season, we just want to make sure it stays damp. So because it's on the ground and it's on the north side of the house, there's a good chance it will stay damp on its own. Periodically, I'll come by and I'll just check it and make sure it's doing all right. But you might just want to check it every couple weeks, every week, something like that. If you're not getting rain, keep an eye on it. I water primarily with rainwater from my rain catching barrel. There's a couple reasons I do this. It's just generally kind of better for microorganisms and growth. If you're using city water, that's totally fine. If you use wine cap mushrooms, they're like really a sturdy mushroom. But you might want to pour or fill up a bucket, like a 5-gallon bucket, with the city water and let it sit overnight. And when it's sitting, it's going to let off the chlorine and the chloramine in the water, so that then you can put it on the plants. This is true in your garden too. This is better on plants, but on the fungus here, and not kind of harm them or damage them at all. It's really straightforward. I mean, all I'm going to do is just make sure that I've got an even watering all the way across. I'm just going to do 1 can for the sake of demonstrating, but you might want to do a few, or if you're watering with a hose, you just want to give it a good soaking. Make sure it's thoroughly moist all the way through all the layers that you put down, right? Because we don't just want to water the top. We want to make sure that all those layers go down, and that with the heat and the water, the spawn starts to spread. It knows that it's time to do its thing, and it gets going. This bed will probably take 3 to 6 months, so like through the summer. I'll check again probably throughout the summer, but definitely in the fall, to fully inoculate. That just means that all the mycelium is going to spread all the way through the fungus, the substrate, the wood chips, and then I'm going to end up with mushrooms. And I will check back in and definitely share with you about those when I get them. It'll be pretty exciting. Let me know if you have any questions, if you have any comments. Drop them in the chat below, and I would love to hear just if you tried this or if you want to know anything about it. And yeah, give me a like and a subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Thank you so much. See ya.